Hey everybody, welcome to your first online learning lesson for English. We are going to be having a look today at some rhythm and some rhyme to help us with our poetry. So let's have a look at our learning intention and success criteria. Today we are learning to identify, mimic, and create rhythm and rhyme in a poem so that we can analyze this stylistic feature. So when we get to it, when we're doing our analysis later in the term, we will be able to look back on this and we will be able to look really in depth into the rhythm and the rhyme of the poem and why the author had made those choices. Today we will be successful if we can count the syllables in each line of a poem, read a poem with rhythm and phrasing, identify rhyming words and patterns, and write a stanza to match the rhyming pattern and rhythm of a poem. Let's see how we go. Alrighty, so let's have a quick look at what rhythm and rhyme are. So rhythm is the flow of a poem. This is based on the number of syllables per line and the number of lines per stanza. A poem that has rhythm will have a repeating pattern of syllables. So you might have the first line will have 7 syllables and the second line might have 5. Then it might repeat itself, 7, 5, 7, 5, 7, 5. And that should repeat between the different stanzas as well, whatever pattern it has. We'll have a look at that a little bit later. Rhyme, we should already know, is when multiple words have the same sound at the end. So most rhyming poems will have a rhyming word at the end of each line to form a pattern. So the rhyming words won't come one after the other, they will come at the end of different lines. This pattern will restart and repeat each stanza. So we'll have a look at that as well, but we might have already heard of different rhyming patterns like A, B, A, B, or A, B, C, B, which is where the A's would rhyme together, the B's would rhyme together, the C would not rhyme with anything. Okay, so we're going to have a look at the Open Sea by Dorothea McKellar now, and try to first identify the rhyming words and the rhyming patterns here. And then we're going to have a look at the rhythm, so we're going to count the syllables to find out what the flow of this poem is. Okay, so quickly having a look at the rhyme, remembering these are words that end with the same sound. So I'm going to read the first stanza, and I want you to pick out where you can find the words that end with the same sound. They might be in a particular spot if we have a look at this poem. From my window I can see where the sandhills dip, one far glimpse of open sea, just a slender slip, curving like the crescent moon, yet a greater prize. Then the harbor garden fair spread beneath my eyes. Okay, so I heard a couple of rhyming pairs in there. Where on the line did you hear the rhyming pairs? So I didn't see any within a line, so from my window I can see. None of those words rhyme with each other, so I don't think they're within the lines. They don't look like they're at the front of the lines, so from, where, one, just, curving, nope. So have a look at the end of the lines. See, dip, see, slip. Those sound like those are rhyming patterns there. Okay? So the way that we assign letters for a rhyming pattern is we find the words that have the same sound at the end, and they get the same letter. Pretty simple. So C and C would get the same letter. Okay? And we start at A every time because that's the beginning of the alphabet and it just keeps it easy. So C, dip would be a different letter because C and dip don't rhyme. And slip has the same ending as dip. Dip, slip. So those would have the same letter. So at the moment, this is an A, B patterned poem. Let's have a look at the rest of the stanza to see if it continues. Moon. I don't see any other words here, just looking at the ends of the lines that rhyme with moon. So this is going to get its own letter. And nothing else in this stanza is going to have that same letter there. So A, B, C. Now we've got prize, fair, eyes. So I can hear that prize and eyes rhyme. They do not look like rhyming words. Okay, this one has an S, this one has a Z, this one ends with an E, this one ends with the S. Okay, so it's not about what they look like, it's about what they sound like, which is why it's really important that we read the poems out loud when we are practicing this skill. So prize and eyes are going to get a letter, not the same as any other letter because they don't rhyme with any other words in this stanza. And fair does not rhyme with any of these other words, so it gets its own letter too. So we've got A, B, C, D, E, D. Okay, Let's have a quick look at the second stanza and see if it's going to be the same or different. Remembering that a good poem with good rhyme scheme should have a pretty similar rhyme scheme throughout the entire poem. So we have had a stanza break here, so we're on to a new stanza, which means we start back at A again. All right, having a look and remembering we found them just at the ends of the lines in this stanza, so see if we can find them in the same place in this stanza. Just below me swings the bay, sings a sunny tune. But my heart is far away, out beyond the June. Clear far the seagulls cry, and the breakers roar, then the little waves beneath, lapping on the shore. What a lovely poem. Okay, so here I heard a couple of rhyming words as well. Again, they weren't at the beginning, they weren't in the middle of the lines, they were at the ends of the lines. Okay, so if we have just a quick review of just the ends of each of these lines, we've got bay, tune, away, June, cry, roar, beneath, shore. So that sounds like it's probably going to be about the same as this, but let's check. So again, we start at A, and bay and away rhyme, so they both get the same letter. Tune and June rhyme, so they both get the same letter, and it's different from bay because it doesn't rhyme with bay. So A, B so far. We've got cry. Doesn't rhyme with any of these ones. Cry, roar, beneath, shore. So remembering to read them out loud to double check because they might have rhymed, but they don't look like rhyming words, definitely. So reading them out loud to check how they sound. Okay, so this is going to be a new letter. Now roar, beneath, shore. So I can hear roar and shore sound like they end the same way. Again, they don't look like they end the same way, so we need to be reading these ones out loud. So that gets its own letter again, D, D, and beneath does not rhyme with anything else in this stanza, so it gets its own letter. So A, B, C, D, E, D. Same as before. All right, I want you to have take a minute to have a look at the rest of this poem. I want you to pause this video now and have a go at finding the rhyme scheme for the rest of the poem. I think you guys are going to do an amazing job with this. Remember, it's not necessarily going to be exactly the same every time. So trust your judgment, reading the words out loud so you can hear whether they rhyme or not. Okay, let's have a look at what we found. I can see here we've got see, me rhyme, A, sky and by rhyme, B, sky's here again. So this one here is a bit tricky. It's got sky, by, sky. Obviously, all of those words rhyme. So that's going to be the same letter there. Okay, let's have a look at the rest. Sands, them, lands. Sands and lands rhyme, so they're going to be the same letter. And them does not rhyme with anything, so it's going to be its own letter. Okay, so this one is a little bit different from the other stanzas, but almost exactly the same. Okay, it's just got one other word that Dorothea McKellar has chosen to rhyme. Okay, I'm going to quickly fill out the rest of this. You should have already had a look at these ones, and let's see if there's any other pattern here. Alrighty, so quickly compare yours to mine, and have a look to see whether you found the same thing that I did. So stanza 1, over here, A, B, C, D, E, D. Stanza 2, A, B, C, D, E, D. Stanza 3, A, B, C, D, C. Stanza 4, A, B, C, D, E, D. Stanza 5, A, B, C, D, E, D. And stanza 6, A, B, C, D, C, D. Okay, so I heard that most of those were the same. We've got stanzas 1, 2, 4, and 5 are exactly the same in terms of their rhyme scheme. And then the third stanza and the sixth stanza are both just a tiny bit different. Okay? Dorothea McKellar has chosen this, and this is actually quite a cool thing if we were looking to analyze. She has got a pattern not only within each stanza, but she's got a pattern in her writing in total as well. Because she's got 2 that are the same, 1 that's different, 2 that are the same, and 1 that's different. So if we were to look at the overall flow of the poem, I feel that that element of the rhyme scheme would help with that as well. So it helps the poem flow because it is following a pattern on the overall poem as well as within each stanza. Okay, so looking over here now, let's start to complete this. What is the name of this poem? It is The Open Sea. I can tell that because the title is up here at the very top, different size and different color, which indicates that it is probably the title. It is different from the rest of the poem. The author of this poem is here, Dorothea McKellar. I can see that because it comes after the word by, which indicates who the author is, and it is underneath the title, which is where the author's name will usually live. I feel that the main idea of this poem is it's about the sea, and I think it's about Dorothea McKellar's love of the sea. And I feel like what she's trying to do is she's trying to make us picture and think of and love the sea as well. So I think that that is probably the main idea of the poem, to make a reader remember their love of the sea. Awesome. Okay, so we've found the rhyming words, we've found the rhyming pattern. Here, the overall rhyming pattern, so not for every single stanza, but overall, is A, B, C, D, E, D. Yep. Okay, we're doing really well with this, and that is all for our rhyme scheme. So now we're going to have a look, and we are going to try to analyze the rhythm of this poem. So the rhythm is a little bit different. When we are doing rhythm, we are going to be having a look at the syllables for each word and the syllables for each line, and then the way that that's going to form a pattern as well. So just a quick reminder about what syllables are. Syllables are the amount of claps that you would find in each word. So when you hear a word, it might have anywhere between 1 and 14 syllables. Not letters, but different sounds within the word. So for example, if we were to look at the word banana, you could hear ba-na-na. I clapped 3 times in that word for the 3 different sounds that I heard in that word. Okay? If you are unfamiliar with doing claps for syllables, you can put your hand underneath your chin and see how many times your chin touches the top of your hand. So if you were to say banana, you would feel your chin touch your hand on ba-na-na 3 times. Okay? So using one of those 2 strategies to have a look here at the syllables in each of these lines. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to read a line, and I want you to clap along with me to find the syllables in that line. So from my window I can see. From my window I can see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There were 7 syllables in that line, so I'm going to add this here. 7. Having a look at the next line. Where the sandhills dip. Where the sandhills dip. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so at the moment we've got 7 in the first line, 5 in the next line. One far glimpse of open sea. One far glimpse of open sea is 7 syllables again. So it looks like it's forming a pattern here. 7, 5, 7. What's this one going to be probably? Let's have a look. Just a slender slip. That's 5 again. Awesome. So it's following our pattern so far. Dorothy is doing an amazing job. Curving like a crescent moon. 7. Yet a greater prize. 5 again. Then the harbor garden fair. 7. Spread beneath my eyes. 5. Okay, so as we were going through there, each line is going to have a different number of syllables, but having a look, we made a pretty strong pattern. 7, 5, 7, 5, 7, 5, 7, 5. Okay, let's have a look at the rest of the stanzas, and I think you guys should be pretty good at this, so I want you to have a go at looking at the amount of syllables in each line of the rest of the stanzas in this poem and seeing if it follows the same 7, 5, 7, 5, 7, 5, 7, 5 pattern that the first stanza did. So I'm going to give you a minute to pause, figure that out now, and then I will show you what I found. Okay, so if you wanted to have a look now at what I found that Dorothy kept the same pattern the entire time. So I found that every stanza had a 5-7-5-7-5-7-5-7 pattern with the syllables. Okay, so this is really great for keeping the flow of the poem. The reason why it's really important that we have a look at the syllables and the rhyme in a poem is when we ask you to do activities like this. So when we get you to create your own poem, and you'll be doing a lot of poem writing throughout your schooling, and when we get you to alter a poem, which you should have done before, but we've done a couple of times so far this term, you are going to have to try and mimic the same pattern with the rhyme and the rhythm that you've seen in the poem so far. So if you can analyze to find what the rhythm and rhyme pattern is, then it'll be much easier when you're trying to copy it, because it's hard to copy something when you don't know what it is. So, for example, if we were trying to replace this word here, I'm going to replace slip with smile. Have I maintained the rhyme scheme? So does dip still rhyme? Is it still a B? No, it's not, is it? So I've messed up the rhyme scheme. Does smile have the same number of syllables as slip? No, it doesn't. So again, the rhythm is now messed up as well. So let's have a look at how that would sound in the poem. So I'm going to read this now and see if you think it sounds good or if you think it doesn't sound so good. From my window I can see where the sandhills dip, one far glimpse of open sea, just a slender smile. It sounds weird, hey? Because it doesn't follow the 7-5-7-5, and it doesn't rhyme with dip, which just makes it sound a little bit weird because this is a perfect rhyme poem and we've just messed up the rhyme a little bit there. Okay, so let's just undo that. Perfect. Now we're going to come over here and we're going to have a go at creating our own stanza to match the rhythm and rhyme in this poem. Start by listing some rhyming matches that you want to include. Okay, so we know that the rhyme scheme for this poem is A, B, A, B, C, D, E, D, which means we need A, we need a rhyming pair for A, we need a rhyming pair for B, we need a rhyming pair for D, and we don't need a rhyming pair for C and E, because those words are not meant to rhyme. So we can just put 2 extra words on these lines that we think would work there. Okay, so having a quick think about some words that you might associate with the C that we could add in, because remembering that since we're adding another stanza to this poem, we don't only have to follow the rhyme and the rhythm, but we also have to meet the main idea. We wouldn't add another stanza in here that's about, I don't know, pies, because it has nothing to do with it. Okay, so let's have a think of some words now that we associate with the C. Okay, so I took a minute to think of some words that I associate with the sea. I came up with blue, fly, hot, waves, and sand. So I haven't come up with the rhyming words yet, but I think of blue when I think of the sky when I'm at the beach, and when I think of the water, I think of fly because of all of the seagulls that they have, and she spoke about those as well, so that'd be good for continuity within our poem. Hot because it's always so hot when I go to the beach in summer. And then the 2 other words that I thought of that I don't need to rhyme anything with are waves and sand. Okay, so can you help me for a second come up with a word that rhymes with blue? Because remember, this is part of our A in the pattern. So we need another word that rhymes with blue. So we could have you, to, grew, flew. We probably wouldn't use flew because we're just about to use the word fly. So I think I'm going to use the word grew here, like they grew, because I think that suits the poem because things that grow make me happy, and this is quite a happy poem if you think of the tone. All right, fly. Thinking of a word that rhymes with fly, remembering that it should associate with this. So I could say the word die, but again, that's a sad word, isn't it? And this is quite a happy poem. So die would not be a word that I would use in this because it would not suit the tone or the main idea of the poem. So I might use the word sky. She's used the word sky quite a few times, but I think it works well for what we are trying to do here. Hot. Okay, so we could use the word not, but again, not sure how it relates unless I was saying not with a K, like on a boat. I could do that, but I think I might use the word lot here, like a lot. Okay, so I have got my rhyming word, my rhyming pairs here. I know what my pattern needs to be, so here I'm going to have, awesome, so we've got those numbers there, just to remind us of how long each of those lines should be. And we have got our rhyming words that we need to insert here. So just before here, first A is blue. It doesn't need to be a capital because it's the end of a line. Then we're going to have the B is going to be fly. Again, does not need to be a capital, Miss Reardon. Golly gosh. Then we are going to have A again, so we're going to use grew, our second A word. Then we've got our second B word, so you're following the A, B pattern. So our second B word is sky. Then we are doing the C, D, E, D section of our pattern. So our C would be waves or sand. I'm going to put sand there. Oh, capitals, Miss Reardon. Then we've got our D, so one of our two D words, so hot. Then we've got our other word that doesn't rhyme with anything, waves. Then we've got our second D, which is lot. Okay, let's see what we can make with this. So I want you to have take a second to see if you can come up with some lines that you could use in here. So obviously I'm going to help you make this poem, but just have a bit of a challenge. Give yourself a little challenge here and see if you can come up with some other words that you can add to these lines to make up this syllable count. Okay, so this is what I came up with. I'm going to read this stanza all together for you, and I want to see if you like it. Looking at the gentle blue, how high the birds fly, a deep love that grew and grew up into the sky. Drifting down onto the sand, toes are getting hot, running quick into the waves. Ah, that helps a lot. Do you like it? I really like it. I think it's a cool little stanza because it links to what the main idea is. It follows the 7-5-7-5-7-5-7-5 pattern. It follows our A, B, C, D, E, D pattern. So it sits nicely in this poem. And I think it also tells a little bit of a story. So I tried to write this poem a couple of times, this little stanza, and sometimes I made it so that it didn't really make much sense. But I think this one tells a little story. So we're looking up at the sky, looking at the birds. You're falling in love with the ocean. The love is growing up and up and up. Then the birds start to drift down into the sand. Their toes get all hot. They run into the waves to cool their toes down. And that helps a lot. Okay. What I'm going to get you guys to do now is I'm going to get you to complete your activity, which looks exactly like this, except you are not working on the open sea like we just did. You're working on a different poem there. So you are going to read your poem, reading it out loud, making sure that you are reading that with phrasing and fluency. So reading it over and over and over again out loud. It might be quite a nice poem that has a bit of a sing-along. So if you need to sing it, go for it, because that will help you identify the rhythm of the poem. Then you are going to count the stanzas, find the rhyme scheme, add that in here, and write your own little stanza in there. So your expectation is that when you look at your poem, you are going to read it out loud the way that it is made to be read. You are going to find all the rhyming words and write down the rhyming pattern. So like this one was A, B, C, D, E, D. Yours is not going to be that pattern, but you can identify what the pattern is. Then you are going to count the syllables or the claps in each line and write that at the end just like we did. Then you are going to fill out this side and mimic the pattern to add another stanza yourself. So you're going to be creating a part of a poem as well. Again, when you are done with that, I would love for you to take a picture or bring it back or however you want to get it back to me, because I would love to see the amazing ideas that you've come up with. Awesome. Happy writing, guys.